He's known and celebrated throughout the world, not only as an actor, but as a singer, songwriter, and activist for global causes. From the Rocky Mountains to the shores of New England, John Denver's come back to Boston to add more song and cheer to the holiday season, and we welcome him now. Please put your hands together for our guest today, John Denver.
Hi, Tom. Thank you.
Welcome, John. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. First, I have to ask you, I thought, Oh God was your first acting endeavor, wasn't it?
I had done a couple of television things. It's the only film that I've done, though.
Yeah, and I thought you did so well in that. How come you didn't do more?
Big mistake on my part.
Really? Yeah.
When I did Oh God, I had gotten to a point in my career where where the opportunity to do a movie was there, and a lot of scripts had come my way, but I didn't want to do a film just to do a movie. I wanted to do something that reflected what I'm trying to do with my music and with my life, and Oh God was the first script that I saw that really got to me in that way. And quite simply, there wasn't one after that moved me in the same way, and I'm still waiting for that script to come my way.
Foxfire was wonderful, too.
Great experience.
Yeah.
Working
Jessica
with
Tandy
and Jessica Tandy, and I guess it's going to be shown again, I believe, a little bit later on this month. But that's, I think, the best acting I've done, and a really wonderful piece of material. That could have been a full-length movie, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have you here, and we were talking backstage, and I read an interview of yours recently where you were talking about the possibility, I don't know if these were exactly your words, but the possibility that the pendulum may be coming back after the 80s, after the materialistic 80s, and now we find out not only are the richest people bankrupt, but our pop favorites are lip-syncing, and it's not a nice time, John.
It goes on and on. I think music is cyclical. It's proven itself to be that. Everything in life has its cycles. And I think that there's a possibility that people will come back to the kind of music that I've been doing over the years. It was very interesting to me that the height of my success, greatest success, was during the years of Watergate and Nixon's resignation, a very low point in our country, when people really turned to my kind of music for a sense of uplift, if you will, some inspiration perhaps. And during the Reagan years, when everything had this glossy overcoat of being just great and the world is super and we don't have to worry about anything, then there wasn't much of an ear for the music that I do out there. Yeah. And now perhaps it'll be swinging back the other way. And there's some sorrow in that. I think we're in desperate straits here in our country and around the world. And but hopefully, if there are difficult times, then my music can be meaningful for people, and that's why I sing.
We're as you say, in a very difficult time with the Persian Gulf situation. You're going to Washington to tape a Christmas special in Washington.
This weekend, yes.
Will you be seeing the president, do you think?
Yes, I get to see President Bush and Mrs. Bush. I consider them friends. Look forward to talking to them.
Will you be talking to them politically?
Well, there's a couple things I'd like to talk to him about. There are some environmental things that I'd like to urge the president to move more strongly on. I think that he is really not playing a leadership role nor allowing our country to take the kind of leadership role it ought to in environmental problems, with environmental problems. And I'd also like to ask him if it's feasible. You know, over in the Persian Gulf, they can't have any shows or performances like you usually are used to doing for our soldiers. And I've done some USO appearances, the last one about a little over a year ago in Korea, in the demilitarized zone. And yesterday I was at Westover Air Force Base in Springfield and met some of the soldiers who were on their way to the Persian Gulf. And it has occurred to me that maybe someone with a guitar can go over there and perhaps sing, and it's not like really doing a show. If we could work that out, I'd be happy to do it.
All right, over here. Who had a question? I want to get the audience into this. Yeah.
Of all of the music that you've written, which is very moving and powerful, can you point to one song as being your favorite or one that gives you the most inspiration?
Well, it's usually the most recent song that I've written is my favorite song. But there are a lot of them that mean a great deal to me. Songs like Calypso, you heard here, is always a very uplifting song. Perhaps Love, Annie's song, Sunshine on My Shoulders. There's some, and then What Are We Making Weapons For? Things like that, I think, is some of the very best things that I've done.
Your music is so personal that I feel easier asking you personal questions, and
Okay.
feel free not to answer them. But when you write a song like Annie's song, and then the marriage ends in divorce, does that song have a bitter sound to it?
Not at all,
or?
not at all. You know, the song, all of my songs begin with a very personal experience or feeling or memory or vision. And then what I try to do is say it in as universal a way as possible so that as many people as possible can relate to it. And I think Annie's song, I still have very strong feelings about my wife, Annie. And unfortunately, we grew in different directions, and that happens to people sometimes. When I sing the song, I sing it not only with a remembrance of the best part of our lives together, but I sing it with that sense of universality, which has that particular song, I think, is my most popular song around the world. And there are so many people that I have seen in so many places, in so many countries, people who speak a different language, who have a different expression for their faith, who have different politics. And I sing that song, and you see the guy put his arm around his girl, and whisper in her ear, and you know that he's saying, you know, I was going to write that song for you. But he beat me to it. And so
I want to give to the audience, but there was one thing I read of yours, and you're talking about sometimes when you do a show and you're just not there. I mean, you're strumming the guitar and singing the songs, but you're not connected to the performance. But that doesn't always mean that the audience isn't connected. Do you remember the story about the family that came together for your concert?
Yeah, there was an evening, and if I remember correctly, what you're alluding to was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I had a night which for me was a difficult night. It was not, you know, sometimes when you say when you're not there, it's that you're so present in the situation that it's just beyond you, and you feel there have been times that I felt in buildings of in excess of 20,000 people, and I know everything that's going on in the building. And I'm sensitive to all of that happening around me and just singing my heart out. But all of that is happening effortlessly. Sometimes you really have to work at it to stay and really concentrate and force yourself to be there, and it can be a tough night for you. And in this particular situation, I just happened to remember it because there was this family down in the front row who were obviously not very well-to-do people, and who had spent a night or two in line to be the first to get tickets when there was that kind of demand for my concerts, and to be able to sit in the front row, and had spent a lot of money to be there. And that a family was together like that and had, you know, put out that much effort to be there for my performance, that meant something. But beyond that, I remember getting a letter about a week or so afterward from another family who had grown up with my music, and the parents were now divorced, and they had not been together for several years, and this was the first time that their family had gotten together since the divorce in several years, and it was to be at one of my concerts, and it totally changed their lives, and they were now a family again. And so, you know, these magic things happen, and you have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Well, you have more to do with it than you might know. But
well,
yeah.
Thank you.
More with John Denver and his unique relationship with the Challenger tragedy after this. We're here with John Denver. John is at the Wang Center tonight at 8 with the Christmas program for the Catholic Charities. Every time I see that shot of that lone student stopping that line of tanks, it is still incredibly powerful.
Incredibly moving, yeah.
It really is. I mentioned the Challenger before we went to break. What many people may not know is that you and not Krista McAuliffe was scheduled to be on that space shuttle.
Well, I was instrumental in getting the whole citizen space program started. and had pretty much been assured that I was going to fly and that I would probably have the first flight. And it was only when President Reagan said that they were going to send a teacher first that that changed. And so, yes, in all likelihood, in a little different world, I might have been a board challenger, but that's not the way it happened.
You wrote a song, Flying for Me, which you wrote for Krista.
For Krista and the crew. I had met all of those folks. I have a very high regard for the astronauts, the astronaut program, and for NASA. I think NASA is one of the best things going on in the world. And Flying for Me was a real expression of how I feel about what they're doing, and hopefully how a lot of people, you know, if they look at it, recognize what's going on with NASA, that they are doing something for all of us as human beings.
Well, as you can imagine, John, that song had a special meaning and does for the students from Concord High School, where Krista McAuliffe taught, and we have some of the students here with us under the musical direction of Bill Mativier. We have Chris Stever on guitar, vocalist Samantha Claptonberg, Mike Kosowitz, and Nate Herrick, and they wanted to give you a gift, John, their rendition of your song for Krista McAuliffe, Flying for Me.
Well, I guess that you probably know by now, I was one who wanted to fly. I wanted to ride on that arrow of fire right up into heaven. And I wanted to go for every man, every child, every mother of children. I wanted to carry the dreams of all the people right up to the stars. And I prayed that I'd find that answer there. Or maybe I would find a song, giving a voice to all of the hearts that cannot be heard. And for all of the ones who live in fear, and all of those that stand apart, my being there would bring us a little step closer together. They were flying for me, they were flying for everyone. They were trying to see a brighter day for each and every one. They gave us their light, they gave us their spirit in all they could be. They were flying for me, they were flying for me. And I wanted to wish on the Milky Way and dance upon a falling star. I wanted to give myself and free myself and join myself with it all. Given the chance to dream, it can be done. The promise of tomorrow is real. Children of spaceship Earth, the future belongs to us all. She was flying for me, she was flying for everyone. She was trying to see a brighter day for each and every one. She gave us her life, she gave us her spirit in all she could be. She was flying for me, they were flying for me. They were flying for everyone. They were trying to see a brighter day for each and every one. They gave us their life, they gave us their spirit in all they could be. They were flying for me, they were flying for me. They were flying for me, they were flying for me.
Bravo. Thank What's your name? Nate. Mike. Samantha, very nice to meet you.
Music with a message from John Denver. Could you stand up again? Could you stand up and identify yourself singly, our Concord High School students?
I'm Samantha Clattenburg.
Chris Stever, Michael Kozowitz, Nate Herrick.
How about a hand for our students again? Let me ask, were you a little nervous?
A little.
Having John Denver behind you?
Yeah. Especially since it was his song, it's a little...
Right, well, beautiful job.
Thank you.
Beautiful job. Thank you again. I appreciate it. How'd that feel to hear it coming from the students from her school?
Well, I could say that wasn't fair. That was very, very moving.
Who else here? I want to get you folks in. You've been waiting patiently. Could you stand up over here?
I just wanted to know, you have such a beautiful, strong voice, and I love you dearly. And I just wanted to know if you've ever had music lessons, singing voice lessons, and if you ever sound like this the day after you sing.
I never really had any formal training. When I was a child, I sang with a group called the Tucson Boys Choir when I lived in Tucson, Arizona. And I always sang, in school choirs and in church. But other than that, no formal training. And as you can hear, my voice a little husky this morning. I sang a couple of hours last night, and I find it's like any other muscle, your vocal cords. And no matter how you exercise, it's not the same as doing a live performance. The energy is different. I don't know. And once you get in shape, though, I like to go out and do maybe 2 or 3 concerts, have a day off, do 2 or 3 more, have a day off, and then I start singing. And I also feel like just over the last couple of years or so, I'm starting to learn how to sing and to be able to do more with my voice. And I'm really enjoying singing more now than I ever have.
Who else over here? Yeah, stand up.
Yeah, you pursued such a great career. I was wondering what you have in store for the future or your future goals.
Well, I'd like to do more films. I'd still like to fly in space. I want to learn how to fly a helicopter. I want to keep growing and learning in every aspect of my life. And I want to get my life, I think the major thing I'm working on now is to have my life more in balance, to really be able to give not only to my business, to my career, but time to my family and more time for myself personally.
You have a new baby.
I have a brand new baby, 18 months old, Jessie Bell. I understand you have a daughter, Jessie.
Yeah.
Something about them little girls, isn't there, Tom?
Yeah.
Boy, oh
Something
boy.
about them, I'll tell you.
So it's a pretty wonderful thing in my life, and a real miracle, as a matter of fact. And I want to have more time with my children.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 adopted kids are 16 and 14 now, and I want to have more time for them.
Do you despair? You're so socially active, and I wonder if that gives rise to more optimism or pessimism when you look at your children.
I'm an optimist. I always have been, and I wonder sometimes it's frustrating to see the lengths to which we must go before we can learn. I wonder what it takes to learn, and I wonder even more importantly, what does it take to move people to action? There's so many things that we know now about what's going on with the environment. We know what the problems are. We know what the source of the problems is. We know what the solution is, and yet what does it take to get people to act? To do the things that we know we must begin to do.